Hi math students, this video is going to be introducing this new topic we're talking about, which is representing situations with inequalities. Because we're going to be talking about inequalities the next couple days, let's start with what is an inequality. An inequality is just going to be a statement that compares two unequal amounts. We've been talking a lot about equations, and equations use equal signs. You use equations when you're talking about two things that are the same, two things that are equal. But inequalities are going to be when those two things are not the same. And for inequalities, we need a different symbol because we can't use the equal sign. You might be familiar with the less than and greater than signs from earlier classes. Less than looks like this symbol, greater than looks like this symbol. And this lesson and the next couple lessons, we're also going to be using less than or equal to, which kind of looks like a less than sign combined with an equal sign. It's less than or equal to, and then also greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to and less than or equal to just are giving you options. That amount can be less than a number, or also it's okay if it's equal to that number. I think these make more sense when we look at actual situations. So for example, we're going to let P represent the number of people in my classroom. And there's a couple different situations we're going to represent. Now I do want to remind you, if I wanted to tell you that there's 10 people in my classroom, I would just be saying P equals 10. That means that the people in my classroom is equal to 10. There are 10 people in class. But notice for these situations we're looking at, we're going to see different words being used. For example, the first one says there are more than 10 people in Samantha's class. Those words more than give us a clue that we are not talking about an equation anymore. We're talking about numbers that are bigger than 10. So when I go to represent that with an inequality, my inequality would be the number of people in my class are more than 10. If I look at my options for inequality signs, more than means the same thing as greater than. The number of people in my class is greater than 10. These next couple also are going to use words that give us an idea of what inequality sign we need. For example, this next one, there are fewer than 10 people in Samantha's class. What word do you think is that clue for what inequality sign we need? Those words fewer than tell us what inequality sign we're using. Do you know what fewer than means? Fewer than is going to be the same thing as less than. Those words mean the exact same thing. So for the second one, my inequality would be P is less than 10. The number of people in my classroom is less than 10. There's two more like that. The third one says Samantha's classroom can hold no more than 10 people. What are those important words there? No more than. Think about what that means, no more than 10 people. If my room can hold no more than 10 people, that means 10 is that maximum. It can't go more than 10. So if I'm thinking about like what are the possibilities, well, it could hold 10 people. I just can't go over 10. It could hold 9, 8, 7. We're describing numbers that are less than 10. If it can hold no more than 10 people, it means it could hold like 5 people, but also it could be equal to 10 people. That's that less than or equal to sign there. No more than 10 people means my room can hold less than or equal to 10 people, and so my inequality would be P is less than or equal to 10. 10 is the most it can hold. The final one, Samantha needs a minimum of 10 people in her class. Why don't you pause the video and try this one yourself, and then come back and see how you did. For this final one, that key word is going to be minimum. If we talk about a minimum of 10 people, it means 10 is the smallest. I need 10 or more people in my class. And so thinking about that, our inequality would be the number of people in the class needs to be greater than 10 or equal to 10. Minimum means greater than or equal to. I think a good thing to include in your notes would be these words that I've been highlighting and what inequality signs they mean, especially if some of those words are new to you. The other way you can represent inequalities is with a number line. And so, for example, for this first one, when we talk about the number of people in my class is more than 10, think about some examples of what that means. If there's more than 10 people in my class, maybe there's 11 people, or 12 people, or 13 people. It's just more than 10. There's a way for you to show all of those numbers on a number line. And so when we think about our number lines, I'll start my number line at 7. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. If I want to show this inequality, if I want to show numbers greater than 10, the way I do that on a number line is I color the numbers I'm talking about. So if I look at this number line, I'm talking about anything more than 10. I'm talking about numbers to the right of 10. And so we can color that part of our number line. The other important part when you're showing your answers on a number line is we need to show if we're talking about 10 or not. So I'm talking about all these numbers to the right of 10. Do I want to include 10 as an answer? No. If there's more than 10 people, it means there's not 10 people. It's only numbers bigger. And so the way we show that is we show that 10 is not colored in by using a circle that looks like this. We call that circle an open circle. Open circle just means I'm showing that it's not colored in. I'm not including it as an answer. Fewer than 10 people is going to be real similar. If you say there's fewer than 10 people in class, there might be 9 people or 8 people, 7, 6, those numbers. So on my number line, I'm going to put 10 right there in the middle. I'm not talking about these numbers bigger than 10. I'm talking about numbers smaller than 10. And so the numbers I'm talking about now for p is less than 10, they are all the numbers to the left of 10. So I would be coloring in that part of the graph. Now the same thing is true as up here. I need to show, am I including 10 as an answer? And look at my examples. I'm not. If there is fewer than 10 people, that means there are not 10 people. And so again, I'm going to use an open circle to show that 10 is not colored in. These last two here, our number lines are going to look really similar. If we draw our number line for p is less than or equal to 10, I'm going to do the same thing. I'll put 10 in the middle here. This time, if we say the room can hold no more than 10 people, we had mentioned this earlier. If it can hold no more than 10 people, it could hold 10 people, just not anything more. So numbers like 10, 9, 8, 7, those are the numbers of students it could hold. So on my number line, similar to our less than graph, I'm going to be coloring numbers to the left, these numbers here. The only difference this time is I also want to show that I'm including 10 as a possibility. It can be 10 or less. And so to show that, I don't use an open circle. I want to show that 10 is colored in too. So I use a circle, but I color it in. It's one of our answers. It's one of the possibilities. And we call that type of circle a closed circle. Go ahead, pause the video, and see if you can do the graph for this last one. For our last one, this is what the number line would look like. When we say a minimum of 10 people in the class, that means we need maybe 10 or 11, 12, 13. We need those numbers bigger than 10. So I colored to the right of 10, but I also colored in 10 because 10 is a possibility. We just need 10 or more. So I'm using that closed circle there to show that 10 is a possibility. This is similar to what we are going to be doing in class today. I've got one down here if you want to pause the video and try it yourself to see if you're ready for class. Come back to the video when you want to see the answers. We've got the problem all ready for us. We said her budget is $20, and that word budget is going to be our key word here. If you have a budget of $20, what does that mean you can spend? Well, if your budget is $20, you could spend $20, but you can't spend more than $20. So you could spend $20, $19, $18, $10, $1. It's going to be all those numbers less than 20. But also, we're including 20 as a possibility. So to show that, I'm going to use the less than or equal to sign. If our budget is $20, you can spend less than $20, or you can spend equal to $20. You could spend all your money. Now, if I want to show this on my number line, because we've got that less than sign, it means I want to shade all of the numbers to the left of 20. And because we're including 20 as a possibility, I'm using that closed circle. So I'm coloring in 20 and all of the numbers below it. We're going to do more problems like this in class today, but I hope you found this video helpful and it gave you an idea of what we're looking at. Thanks so much for watching this video and have a great rest of your day.